At least it's quite soft here. And another piece of new gear I've been trying out today is my Garmin Fenix 7 Pro. Hello and welcome to another video from me. I'm here in the Brecon Beacons with my friend Luke today. We have just completed a 7.2 mile walk. We parked down at the Blaenau Glyn car park, down where you can do a waterfalls walk. And yeah, we've done most of the horseshoe, really the Central Beacons horseshoe. So we've been up, sort of half skipped out Vannebeek and went up Cribbin, skipped out just the summit of Pen y Fan and Corndee, and then we find ourselves just on the shoulder of Corndee now, and the cloud has come in. If I spin you around and show you the majestic views we do not have. So yeah, we've chosen this spot. It's quite level around here, and I'll show you the first of my new bits of kit I'm using. So these are my trekking poles that my parents gave me for Christmas in 2023. I've used these on one walk and I had excruciating knee pain on that walk, but it wasn't to do with the trekking poles. It was this long-standing knee issue I had for about 2 years. It's now fixed thanks to some 15 quid insoles. So I've cracked the trekking poles back out and they have been really useful today. There is quite a lot of snow around on the paths. Of course, being in the Brecon Beacons, there are a lot of people walking here, so all the snow gets compacted and polished. So it's like trying to walk on an ice rink around here, really. So there's ice as well as snow. And yeah, these poles have saved me quite a few times today. One time they didn't save me, so I've been down once. Luke's managed to stay upright. But yeah, they've been really helpful. And another piece of new gear I've been trying out today is my Garmin Fenix 7 Pro. So it's my first time doing a proper outing with this watch, really, but the main reason I bought this watch was just because it can record my activities on Strava and also navigate. So I can now just look at my watch to take me around a route that I've plotted, and it also gives me little alerts if I wander off track as well, which is really useful. For some reason I didn't work it properly today. I've given it one trial back at home just for a really simple loop and it worked really well. I got the little warning to say I'd gone off track, but whatever I did today meant that it didn't follow the route I'd plotted, but I knew where we were going anyway, so it hasn't been a big deal. But I look forward to using that and getting used to it. But for now, it is time to get the tents up. Luke's already started doing his over there. Luke's got his Terra Nova Quasar, and I've come back out in my Terra Nova Southern Cross 1. First time in a long time I've used that tent, because as some of my regular followers will know, I didn't go out to camp a lot at all last year, but since it's the first camp of 2025, I thought I'd break out the Terra Nova. I broke one of the poles last time I used it, so Terra Nova replaced those poles under the 2-year no quibble guarantee, and I think I actually broke it something like 2 days or 1 day away from being outside my 2-year warranty period, so that was kind of lucky, kind of unlucky. So yeah, I'm going to get my tent pitched with its brand new poles, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Watch Phil, yeah. I couldn't believe it when I got home to take my receipt, and it was like about. The tents are both pitched now, so here's my Southern Cross one with its brand new poles. I did make an adjustment on the other side, so with this blue pole that goes over the middle, as with the other poles as well actually, you can choose which of these two holes you use. So there's the outer eyelet here, which results in a little bit less tension in the tent. And then there's the inner hole here, which pulls it all a bit more taut. So I've got my footprint attached on the inner eyelet, and I always put the pole in the outer eyelet on this side, but on the opposite side I normally put the blue pole in the inner eyelet, which normally gives me the kind of tension I want over the tent. But today it was a little bit tight, which I could say is down to the pole being a different length, but I think it's probably just due to the ground. So if you've got any undulations, which we definitely have here, you can see it's quite lumpy, bumpy ground. It just means that the tent sets up slightly differently each time. So I've just given that a little bit of a tweak, and it's pitched as well as ever. I do like the shape of this tent when it's all pitched out, all pulls nice and taut, which is really good in the wind. Luke's Quasar there, looking like a bungalow. It's just, this thing is solid. I think he's got about 124 pegs that make sure it will not blow away in the night. But the forecast is going to be really kind to us tonight, although it's cold. Let's have a temperature check. It's minus 0.1 Celsius at the moment. So it is quite cold. With the wind chill, I think we're expecting to see something like -5 or -8 tonight. It's really quite still right now, and the strongest gusts of wind in the night aren't meant to be any stronger than 15 miles an hour, so it looks like it should be a nice easy night. It is, on my brand new watch, which does far more than tell the time, it is 4:38 p.m. so the sun has set. It was behind me, but we are up in the cloud now, which isn't really great in cold weather because all that moisture can get into all your kit, so your lovely down sleeping bag can absorb a bit of moisture, and the feathers can't do quite as good a job at keeping the warmth in. But there's not much we can do about that tonight, really. So yeah, it's not going to be overly cold. My water is all still liquid, which is a really good start, but it's time to get some kits set up and then we can get some food going. As you can see, I bought the footprint for my tent. So on days like this where you've had to chuck your tent down on snow, it's quite handy having a clean and dry floor you can sit on out here. So I'm just about to inflate my sleep mat, which means I don't really want to be in the way, like inside my tent, in the way of the mat as it tries to inflate and unfurl. So it's quite handy just to be able to sit out here, not sit on the wet ground, and then I can attach my handy pump here. So I've gone back to my original Flextail Tiny Pump 2X for this camp. I did have the Zero pump on my previous camp, which is that tiny super lightweight one, but the Tiny Pump 2X is just so useful because it's a lantern as well as being a pump. 3 different levels of brightness. So this will now inflate my sleep mat. It takes about 2 minutes. I'm using the Flextail Zero sleep mat as well. I used this on my last camp and I've actually found this to be more comfortable than my Thermarest NeoAir X Therm. So although I can't use this with my Thermarest Trekker chair kit to turn it into a chair to sit out and watch the non-existent sunset, it's quite a lot more comfortable. So in the interest of better sleep, I've brought this mat with me again. And if you'd like to buy any Flextail products yourself, like the Tiny Pump 2X or the Zero mat, then there's a link in the description and a discount code for you to use there. That is my sleep mat inflated. There is the Flextail Zero Mattress R05, which means it has an R value of 5. I've now got my pump hanging up here with its little lampshade on it. So that is the Tiny Pump 2X. And I was a little bit alarmed as I was inflating the mat because it seemed like it was taking up the entire tent space, but although it is pretty much as wide as you'd want it, just for anyone considering buying one of these with the Southern Cross one, if I put it right the way down to the end, it is touching the inside of the tent, but I'm okay with that. And then down at the end we have about 10 inches beyond the head end of the pad, but yeah, you can see it fills up the width of the tent, but that is how I want it really. And then of course you've got this handy space down here for chucking your nice insulated boots if you want. I've got my Montane Hut boots here, and yeah, just all my other clothes. Got spare clothes as well. Just chuck all those down the side of the sleep mat, and then I can have electricals and my phone and whatever down at the far end there. Anyway, time to get the sleeping bag out. I've got all the gear sorted out now. So I'm in my sleeping bag. This is my Rubber Scent 900. I've got all my warm layers on, so I've got merino wool base layer, thermal long johns, got the Rab down pants on, and then I've got 2 sort of micro fleece layers and a hat, and that's keeping me warm enough. I'll fire up the thermometer for a temperature check. But some other kit I brought with me, so I've spoilt myself a little bit tonight by bringing my little fire maple gas lantern. So I just caught part of Paul Messner's latest video where he was talking about his winter kit, and he did a temperature test on the inside of his tent. So right now, I've lost my thermometer already. It is 2 degrees in here. Don't know if you'll be able to see that on there. It's saying 2 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit warmer than outside. But Paul was saying that you can significantly increase the temperature of the inside of your tent by, he just had a little nightlight candle. So with a little gas lantern like this, I'm going to do a quick before and after temperature check and see if Paul was lying to us. But it would be really interesting. I think he boosted the temperature by more than 5 degrees. I'm sure it was about 10 degrees. I'd have to watch it back. Maybe I'll stick up the numbers he really achieved on the screen. But yeah, we'll see if this works. I've also got a new little tiny torch from Flextail. It's, I think all of their products are called Zero now, so I think it's a Flextail Zero torch, so it's really small. And I've been using this for the last few weeks on my walk. So I've been doing longer and longer walks recently. Some of them have pushed me past sunset, so to have a tiny little torch like this is really handy. I also use my Army Tech Wizard C2WR head torch, which Army Tech sent me. So I've actually had a few miles of use out of this now. It's accompanied me on some long walks in the Quantock Hills in Somerset, and on my last one it was picking out lots of deer headlights through the trees, and there was an owl as well, so I could just see everything reflecting back at me. But that's it's been a really good head torch actually. I did have a lighter weight sort of light duty head torch which didn't quite have the battery life of this. I wanted something that I could really head back down to the car with at night if something went wrong at camp. So I really wanted at least sort of 3 hours of battery life, which this does give me on a usable strong beam. And I also have a spare battery for it, so I can also have a charged up battery ready to go if I need it. So I think that's most of my new kit. In terms of food tonight, I've got the Adventure Food pasta bolognese. I then have a second main course, which is Wayfarer's mac and cheese, and then the ultimate Wayfarer's chocolate pudding. It's a winner. I'm actually a really big fan of all 3 of these. But another piece of kit I don't have with me, a new piece of kit, is a food dehydrator. So my parents very kindly gave me that for Christmas, and it means that I'm going to be able to dehydrate my own meals now. So that means I can have bigger portions than these, because these don't really cut it. That's why I've got 2 main meals tonight. These also cost quite a bit. I mean, give or take, you're paying about £5 per meal. So if you need 2 of them, that's 10 quid on your main course, plus a pudding. So the cost really racks up. And yeah, I just much prefer the idea of being able to prepare my own food, so I can eat exactly what I want, I can eat the portion size I want, and I can save loads of money on it as well. And the dehydrator takes out something like 75% of the weight of whatever you've dehydrated. So whatever it was beforehand, say it was 400 grams for the sake of argument, once you've dehydrated it, it should only be about 100 grams. So because I would love to take on some multi-day hikes, it could make a really big difference to my pack weight and also the bulk of the weight that I'm carrying, so the bulk in my pack. So I'm really looking forward to trying that out. I need to get some sort of specialised dehydrated food recipes together to cook up the best food. And I can also dehydrate fruit, so I always have chopped up bananas on my cereal, but when I'm camping I forfeit that. But I can now dehydrate some chopped up bananas and chuck those in as well. So you will see me talking about that more in the future. And since I'm talking about new kits, so my watch here has a really handy feature where it tells you how long it's going to take your body to recover from whatever exercise you've just done. And I just looked at it now and it's telling me I need to recover for 65 hours. So looks like I'll be camping on Corn D for the next 2 or 3 days until I've got enough energy to walk back down. I don't think that'll be happening. I am going back home tomorrow, whatever happens. So we'll see if the watch is telling porcupines or not. Anyway, for now, I've got my gas canister in the sleeping bag just to warm it back up again a bit so it's got some pressure to cook with, and I'll get some of these meals on the go. Good morning, it's 9 o'clock, and as you can see the cloud is still here. We are just getting the tents packed up. So mine is all emptied out, most of my stuff's in my pack and I just need to drop the tent. As you might have noticed, I didn't finish my little gas lantern experiment last night to see if it really does heat up the tent as much as Paul Messner says. So until I've carried out that experiment, I can't confirm whether or not Paul Messner has just been lying to us all this time about everything he says. So maybe on the next trip I'll try it, but last night I was just ready to have some food, get warm and try and get some sleep. Sleep didn't go all that well, so I don't think I've met my watch's instructions to get 66 hours of rest before the walk back to the car, but it's not a very long walk back. I think it's maybe 5 miles, something like that. We can see a couple of walkers. I don't know if you can see those in the background through the cloud, but just being about 20-25 meters off the footpath here in the cloud means that we are quite well hidden really. I did try sending the drone up. I carried it up with me, but there was no way of sending it up through the cloud and it just came back soggy and cold, giving me warnings about cold batteries and high winds. So not really much drone action to bring you on this one. So if there is any footage to show you on the walk back to the car, I'll just kind of fit that in amongst everything I'm saying this morning. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to have views to show you, and we might have an interesting time coming down the stone steps off the top here. Cheers. It's quite sketchy when you bend down and then your pack shoves you forward. Like you hit your pack on a rock behind it, pushes you forward, just as you're trying to negotiate a ledge. Yeah. Ooh. What? The same bit. Yeah. Oh! At least it's quite soft here. I did bring my Catula nano spikes with me to try and help in the ice and snow. So far I've just been using my trekking poles and they're doing a really good job. I should really have put the nano spikes on. It's just an admin hassle to put them on and take them off again if you need to, but yeah, maybe I should have done. I came prepared, I just didn't put them on my feet. So yeah, that's about it for this camp, I think. I'll have a bit of a talk about my previous video on the next camp, I think, just because this is more of a social camp out here with Luke. So yeah, I'll have a chat about that one, but I really appreciated the comments and the response to that last video, so I'll have a chat about that next time. But for now, this is me signing off. This is my first camp of 2025. I hope you all get out for some good camps, and I'll see you on the next one.